Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plaguing Evolved custom scenarios. We're going to try out a scenario that's either going to be really good and really fun, or it's going to be controversial and provocative and turn my comment section into a total mess. We're going to find out, but it's called Amazonism, or Amazonism, however you want to pronounce it. In and of itself, I think it's a pretty good concept for a scenario. It's just once you throw in the militant feminist icon, some people are going to take sides immediately, but we'll find out what happens. The author is Trivoro. Whoa. What are you doing? That's his name. A peculiar pathogen, one which seems to be potentially lethal towards males but beneficial towards females. Please do not get triggered by this. That's not just me saying it's the author, but I also happen to agree. Please do not. This could be fun. Let's not turn it into something stupid. 2 separate paths to choose. Kill all the men or help all the women. Game will end when half the population, all of the men, are dead. That's pretty fun. Although when you think about it, it kind of means that all the women are just on, they're just on the clock of themselves. I mean, all of humanity is dead at that point too if there's no repopulation. So they're all basically dead, they just don't know it yet. We're all gonna die. Multiple endings that hopefully work. A subject matter that definitely won't make any comment section get into a heated discussion that will devolve into a giant mess. Hint, hint. All right, Prion, Catalytic Switch, Genetic Mimic, Aquaside Extremophile, and Transstasis on normal difficulty. Feminita Amalgora. Amalgora? It's a weird word. Arise, warrior. Containing the DNA of an ancient warrior mutated into a Prion, you must reclaim the world and put it in the rightful hands it so clearly deserves. Women's hands. The matriarchy. Matriarchy, guys. From the ruins. A group of explorers have found you in the ruins. You infect the only woman in the group and begin your journey. We start off in Brazil and the Amazon, which makes perfect sense to me. Transmission. We have birds, rodents, insects, blood, water, air, and livestock. All very generic. Symptoms. Confidence booster. Women who are infected feel more confident in doing everyday tasks. And slight sniff. Infected males may start coughing or sneezing, releasing a pathogen into the air. I mean, I know we can either help women or kill all men, but why don't we just do both? Let's kill all men and empower women. It's exactly what we're supposed to do. Cold resistance, heat resistance, drug resistance, and neural atrophy. So this stuff's all pretty basic. Transmissions are pretty basic. I think symptoms are primarily where we're going to find the most unique content. The expedition was a success. An expedition team which explored the ruins of a long-lost civilization in the depths of the Amazon rainforest have returned. Their findings indicate this civilization existed thousands of years ago but were wiped out mysteriously. Because all the men died, and the women were fine for a while, but then they got old and crinkly and died, and there were no babies. Feminism is on the rise across the world. Over the recent years, equal rights movements have spiked in popularity, social media, and the internet in general, aiding and educating people on the still rampant inequality in certain countries. I mean, I can agree with that much. New technology could make men obsolete. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I was wrong. They can repopulate. And this is why this technology should be banned. I say that out of personal interest. I don't want to become obsolete. A new procedure could allow an embryo to be created with the DNA of 2 people, dubbed the Embrose Project. It could theoretically make men obsolete. Without any further funding, it is expected to take a sizable amount of time before it is ready. I guess that's the cure. Oh, wow, that's the cure when we get to a point where... No, wait. No, what is the cure? Because I was going to say, once the Embrose Project is done, men are obsolete and women win. But that's what I'm trying to do right now, is kill all men and make women win. So maybe the cure is a resistance to the Embrose Project, so men are still relevant. I don't know. All right, so for transmissions, we're going to start with, let's see, I don't ever start in Brazil. Livestock, water, and hot. We'll go for some water transmission, maybe livestock after that. I don't know. Livestock is not a very common choice for me, just because I find that it's not quite as useful as something like air, water, wealth, land, so on, transmission. But we'll go ahead and pick it up, just because I do want to have a good, strong start in a place like Brazil. We're also going to pick up a level of air transmission, because I'm imagining that I'm going to want to go for that extreme bioaerosol at some point. So do we want to go for... You know what? Let's go for the confidence booster, which is basically to say that we're rewriting women's personalities. what is it? There's like the big 5 in psychology that like help define your personality types and the kind of general trends you can see in men and women and so on. And there's something to do with like women are more agreeable, which means they're nicer and they don't have as much conflict and people like them better. But because they're more agreeable, they also don't project their will as often, which could be considered a lack of confidence, or at least is perceived that way. So that's what we're doing, is we're rewriting feminine psychology. Yes, we're making them less agreeable and therefore a bit more assertive, so they have confidence. Boom. Survival knowledge. Pathogen imparts knowledge about surviving in the wilderness to the infected women, forcibly storing it long-term memory. Really? So we're basically acknowledging that once the men are gone, women are just going to have to go and live in the forest. Is that what you're saying? That seems kind of weird, but all right, we'll pick that up. That leads to endurance. Infected women expend energy more efficiently, getting tired less easily. However, more sweat is produced as a trade-off. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, but I'll pick it up because, sure, maybe it counts as water transmission? I don't know. Transfer of power. Wait, this just happened. What's this? The pathogen can now unlock mutations which affect both genders, weakening men and strengthening women simultaneously. I guess that's not a bad free pickup. I'm all right with that. We'll go for the slight sniff for the infection. Then we have fear. The infected men start to fear women slightly. Because truly, the only reason that men could ever be opposed to the feminist movement is because we're afraid that women will be too strong and they won't need us anymore. And we like our position of dominance. That's what it's about. We'll pick it up. Insomnia. The infected men have trouble sleeping at night. Oh, you poor babby. All right, transmissions. We're going to go for a bit more water transmission. Air transmission wouldn't be so bad right now, simply because we are getting into places like Saudi Arabia. The new prion affects men and women separately. Are you saying that there's a difference between the genders? That there's a How dare you? The newly discovered pathogen, Feminita amalgora, has been shown to affect women and men differently. Researchers are advised to take caution. Again, by the way, let's not take the scenario all too seriously. There are people who actually don't think there is any meaningful biological difference between the genders, and I'm really not eager to get into that debate. I'm just making jokes because it seems fitting for this particular type of scenario. We will, however, go for a bit more air transmission. I think we need to go for a bit of drug resistance since we are getting around in Europe, and we probably... Whoa! What's happening here? Let's go for a bit of cold resistance as well, since we did start off in a hot country, like so. More drug resistance is tempting, and I think we probably will once I get 23 DNA, because we are very slow in Europe right now. Remember, as a prion, that all of these abilities and symptoms and stuff take kind of have a delayed effect before they really, come in full swing, so be aware that you have to evolve things a little bit early if you want to have an effect. Lengthy locks! Lengthy, luscious locks. Infected women's hair is now all redirected towards the scalp, causing immense hair growth. Thick, long, beautiful hair, and everything else is like hairless, I guess is what they're trying to imply. I don't know. Amazonian stance. Infected women gain an understanding of Amazonian ideology, adapted to modern times, and live by it. Okay, we'll pick that up. Growth spurt. Infected women start growing to be much taller on average. The shortest woman is at least 7 feet tall, towering over most men. Jeez. Amazonism taking center stage. A large number of women across the globe are adopting a lifestyle ideology nicknamed Amazonism, which focuses heavily on the fact that women should be stronger than men. I mean, okay, real talk for a quick second, though. In my personal opinion, should is kind of irrelevant. I can't really control my biology here. It just is what it is. I am stronger physically than my wife. I didn't choose that. I don't necessarily even want to. It just is what it is. Can't control that. Increase in funding for Embrose Project. Seeing the severity of this pathogen, the world has agreed to increase funding. So we're just now accepting the fact that men are going to die, basically is what it's coming down to. We're like, you know what? Seeing that this is going to be a widespread issue, let's just assume that men are going to die and we're going to need to repopulate the Earth somehow. Let's work on this project. That's just like, ma'am, don't give up on us already, please. The world was way too willing to do that. Insomnia, then we have man flu. Oh, man flu? Is it like mansplaining or something? Man flu. Infected men experience slight nausea, mild headaches, and acute paleness, which is to say, then, they all become a bunch of whiny babies who are like, honey, can you take care of me? Have you ever seen those videos? It's like, men react to diseases this way, and women are like, oh, I have to go about my day, and they're just so strong. I don't know. I like to think that I'm not that kind of a guy who's like, I'm so helpless. But I don't know. Maybe there is some truth to it. Just observing, let's say, the difference between my personal parents, my dad and my mom, there actually may be some truth to it. It's a fair stereotype. Marked for death. The pathogen has deemed men are not worthy of existing. The pathogen will ensure men suffer. And then we have sapped sight. Black spots appear in infected men's vision, impairing their sight whilst women gain enhanced vision. That's horribly unfair. I'm going to let some mutation take a lot of this, I think. We could go for the growth spurt. Mostly, I'm a little concerned that we're still not getting into places like Russia, and I've gotten as much cold resistance as I think I can. Hey, look, Greenland! Well, that was the thing I was really worried about. I think the Baltic states will probably be okay, but let's pick up some bird transmission to be safe. Everything else is probably fine as it is. So let's go for a growth spurt, then fourth wave feminism. Wait, third wave feminism came to an end and the fourth began? Wow. Infected women start to think that the pathogen is ultimately beneficial to the world, putting men in their rightful place. In the ground, their graves. Calmer thoughts. Women are not as alarmed by the changes as they should be, due to the pathogen boosting melatonin levels. Alright. And we have doting care. Women start to see men as adorable pets, taking them in and carrying them, inevitably infecting them as well. I'm sorry, wait, are you trying to tell me that women's nurturing tendencies are still preserved? Because I don't think that that's supposed to exist with Amazonism. I think they're supposed to be less nurturing by nature. High increase of demand for larger clothes. Practically overnight, there's been a huge influx of women attempting to find new clothing. As the shops struggle to keep up with the new needed stock, focus on the cure is distracted slightly for the day. Just one day, though. Just one day to stop shopping and try to solve the problem. New data about the prion. More has been uncovered about the pathogen responsible for this epidemic. According to new findings, high concentrations of the prion were found in the Amazon rainforest. Dead prions found there indicate a previous epidemic. More is to be uncovered. Alright, doting care will pick up. That reduces severity, actually. And then we have no need anymore. Female reproductive systems are mutated to the point where it is possible to reproduce without men at all. The precise logistics of this are unknown. Budding. Okay? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Budding is the way of the future. Just like you have a little tumorous growth and it pops up and becomes another human. Some men start to accept changes. Amidst the sudden changes in women, some men have embraced these changes. It isn't so bad once you get used to it, one anonymous man has reported. That's just because you like being taken care of, you soy boy. Is that like a really offensive thing to say? I thought it sounded funny, but it just occurred to me that maybe that's really offensive to some people. I don't know. I also kind of don't care. No need anymore. We'll pick it up. No lethality left. Women are going to take over the planet and you're going to accept it. Embros made redundant by mutation. No longer care. Due to a new mutation in the genome in Feminita almagora, infected women can now reproduce without men. All current research funds for the Embros project are now being diverted to the cure effort. What? No! That's not what I wanted at all. It's going way faster. Sapped intelligence. Oh, good. Men become stupid Neanderthals and are starting to give women all their intelligence. Actually, the differences in the brains between men and women, from what I've read, are kind of interesting. I've heard, it depends a lot on where you read the studies, because there are some people who are like, there's literally no difference. And then there are some people who are like, there are some differences, they just don't have any major implications as to whether or not men and women should be, like, equivalent in intelligence. But, like, my understanding from doing some reading is that women have, like, these more connections between the left and the right hemispheres of their brain, which is interesting because it would mean, to me at least, that they intuitively can make more connections, but it also means it's harder for them to compartmentalize their thoughts and their feelings about different situations, as opposed to men, which I think is really interesting and would explain some of the major psychological differences between men and women. But again, it depends a lot on which studies you read, because I get conflicting information, but I don't know which one's politically biased. Fate of the Amazonians. More research now indicates that this tribe subsequently died out after a single generation, the prion making it impossible to procreate. This single generation of Amazons, however, living for roughly 500 years, tried to... You'll never know. You'll never know the end of that sentence. Normal life in France is beginning to break down. Oh no! The French women are running rampant! Women are now in control. With women in a much higher position than men, a clear divide is found. The remaining men left will die out, cared for, then left as a remnant of the past, leaving the world for women. Did anyone ever say that the fact that women can reproduce, it only produces females? Did anyone ever say that? I don't know. Maybe more pets will be born someday. Oh, yay, it's a baby. And it's a man. I got a dog. Aww. I wanted a child, but I got a pet. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. So... It's actually a pretty decent scenario, guys, to be honest. I mean, I could use some more customization when it comes to abilities and transmissions. But just in terms of like the overall theme and the symptoms, it actually is not a bad scenario by itself. It's just unfortunate that a scenario like this is going to immediately upset some people just because it is actually a hot button issue in today's culture. I just want to know, once women become so much more powerful than men, does gender equality flip the other way and say, you know what, we need to start helping the men because they're suffering and they're not keeping up? No, probably not. 484 days, 88% cure progress, 43,000 points, and 2 stars. I think it's a fine scenario. So I'm going to say yes, by itself. Put aside any triggering nature of it, and it actually is pretty good by itself. I like it a lot. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button. Leave a comment showing how triggered you are, if at all. And, of course, subscribe if you have not already. My name is Pravus, and I will see you guys next time.